welcome to Truth and Justice, Mako Hawaii Aina. We are here live with you once again from Akaku Community Television Studio here on wonderful 7/11/11. Thank you everyone for joining us again. We are here live in your living rooms, kitchens, and parlors. Yes, my older sister still uses that term, the parlor. And that's where you don't really sit. You go straight to the living room, or the pune'e, or the lanai, and then you have your bowl stew and raisa. So mahalo everybody, sit back and get ready to once again get in the know what is happening socio-economically, culturally, vibrantly with your community right here, Maui Nui, Kalana'o Maui, within the county of Maui, and also the Kalana'a Maui, which is Maui Molokai Kaho'olawe, and Lanai. Aloha everyone, and once again welcome. We are live here this evening, and as you know, we have a live show, then a re-air, and then a live show again. And I just want to recap on our last show. We did have the co-chair of the Ad Hoc Conciliation Commission of Kaho'olawe Aina. We're so proud of that. A civil society organization registered with UNDESA, and that is the United Nations Department of Economy and Social Affairs. Yes, people, it is official, and it is very, very real, hence what is going on right now, yeah? So we discussed also with the Public Relations Officer, Energy, and we discussed self-determination. That's what I'm going to sum it up in, just self-determination. Do you want to determine what foods you can eat? Do you want to determine what air you can breathe? With aluminum or without? With strontium, which is cancer causing, or without? Do you want to be able to travel freely on the roads without being bothered or harassed or profiled unnecessarily in your home? Would you like to live with the right to determine for yourself the form of governance that you have, the enforcement of that form of governance? And we could get a lot deeper, certainly. And that's kind of like the short recap I'm going to give you, because we got to get into this show. We have, again, a couple of guests. But before we do that, I just have to make this announcement. The acting governor of the state of Hawaii, Inc., established according to their Dun & Bradstreet record in the year 1895, has issued an offer to the public disguised as a Senate Bill number 1520, proposing to create a Native Hawaiian entity and organization that will act as an intermediary. That means an in-between third person to relate the self-determinate rights of the constitutional, never transferred nor acquired, never relinquished citizenry of the still existing sovereign nation of Kauai Aina, over to the state of Hawaii, namely, particularly for the purpose of selling alleged ceded lands. So, are we, you and I, practicing self-determination if we allow the blatant taking and disguise and concealment of other people's assets to go and be laundered under some disguise of an act? Are you and I morally responsible? Are you and I being good neighbors when we allow the displacement of a people who give us their home, who give us their aloha to the world, to the world? Are we practicing good judgment by taking and accepting this public offer to displace a family and to take away their inheritances? And no, participate in taking their inheritances away for yet another generation. Because in doing so, I believe, and I know in talking with many of you out there, overwhelmingly, civilized nations around the globe, we would be stripping them of their self-determination and their rights to determine these choices that a human being should have based on this protected, legal, legitimate, lawful right that is recognized by the world and yet is suppressed in the Garden of Eden on earth, where you and I live and we vest our families. So with that, I'm going to introduce to you Energy, once again, a returning guest, Aloha Mai, from the Ad Hoc Conciliation Commission.
Aloha. Good evening this afternoon. This evening. Good evening this evening.
It's all rolling in together.
So, yeah, as Mahalani was speaking on, I think how bills like this get passed is language, the way in which things are worded. You know, they use the word native, and native sounds like it relates to the Kanaka Maoli, but native actually does not. Native regards people who've been here long enough to establish a citizenship within a state context. And so it really doesn't relate to the Kanaka Maoli only. It relates to anyone who's been here, whatever time it takes to become a registered, a resident here in the state of Hawaii. And so the trickery is in the way the bill is written. And this is how things are done over and over again. And these days, it behooves us to not only be reading aware, but really to question the intent behind these kinds of actions when they surface.
Well, I agree with you there. I've got mine all marked up.
Yes,
and,
me too. Where would you like to
notated out. We can examine this thoroughly in our discussion. I need to, and I have the honor to also introduce Nelson Armitage of the Sovereign Nation.
Aloha.
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 Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. There's a lot to be said and a lot to know and a lot to be understood about the rules and regulations that we're under. And I'm here to support and help people understand the political authorities and how rules work and how they apply and how deception plays a big part of political deception, where I believe if you're responsible as a public servant for the service of the people, and if you feel that you're absolutely depriving people, that's where I want to come and support people that's been deprived based on political, agendas that's hidden behind either language or deliberately knowing and willing to deprive people. And that's what's been going on with our people for the last 118 years, So I took the time and liberty to really do the research and discovered a lot of fraud behind the movement, and the offerings of the resolutions that has no proper claims or even jurisdiction, period, at all in Hawaii. And I believe that the operating system here in Hawaii, from your political authority to your judges to your acting directors and everybody else, should be held responsible for fraud, outright fraud. And it's not hard to, for me today, it's not hard at all to discover and write it up. It's pretty simple now. After spending about a year discovering all of this, it's so easy to just say, wow, it's a big lie that we all have to just rise above,
I like
what
that,
a big lie.
rise above it. But like in addressing an illness before you heal it, we need to just address this, comprehend it for what it is, and then look at the root of it. Where is it coming from? It's coming from a non-jurisdictional entity. And I want to just speak to that.